What's up everyone? So today's video is going to be a housing and care video of Heterometrus spinifer, or the giant Asian forest scorpion. So without further ado, let's get into it. So it's going to be housed in this extra large invertarium, and we've got all the bits and bobs in here that we're going to put into it. So we're going to start with the substrate, which is just spider life, which is fine, perfect for all arachnids. It encourages their natural burrowing behaviours, and forest scorpions do tend to burrow a bit. So we are going to put probably around 3 or 4 inches of substrate in this enclosure to give it sufficient room to burrow. Right then, I'm literally just going to tip this in. Put some in there. Probably won't have enough in that bag, but it's alright. I've got another bag. Chuck that bag away. Spread this out a little bit. Break up some of these large lumps of dirt. There we go, yeah, so it's going to need probably another inch or so of substrate in there, so I'll go ahead and add that. Right then, I've added all the substrate, and there's just over 3.5 inches in there, which is absolutely perfect. And to that substrate, I'm going to add a little bit of moss. So, I finally found my gloves, and now all I'm going to do is go ahead and mix this in. Mix it into the soil, gives it a nice look and also an extra bit of texture for the scorp as well. Turn some of that over. Doesn't mix in very well. There we go. Spread it out a little bit. He says. There we go, that should be fine. And because giant Asian forest scorpions come from the forest, we're also going to add some of this forest leaf litter here. So all I'm going to do is just grab a handful and just chuck it in, spread it around a little bit. Bit of extra texture here and there. There we go, so that's the leaf litter sorted. I'm going to go ahead and add a bit of bark. This nice curved bit of bark here, which will be a lovely hide for the scorpion. So probably going to put it there. Scorpion can get into there. I'm going to add a little bit of substrate over the top of that as well, just to blend it in a little bit more. Looks shocking, I know, but it's fine. Scorpion's not going to care as long as he can get in there, and you can make that into a nice hide and maybe use it to burrow down as well. Shouldn't matter too much. Also going to add this nice skull. Probably going to put the skull somewhere about there, so it's another sort of hide he can use as well. And to this enclosure, of course, scorpion's going to need a water dish. So I've just got this plastic pot here. I'm going to go ahead and try and put that down in there. There we go. Water dish has been added. We'll go ahead and fill that up with the water sprayer. Get some water in there. And then, the last thing to add is, of course, the scorpion. Once this has been filled, of course. There we go, should be alright. I'm also going to give it a mist. Asian forest scorpions like it quite humid, between 65 and 85%. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a nice mist. That moss will help to retain some of that moisture as well. There we go, lovely. Right then, we'll go ahead and add the scorpion. Right then, we are going to add the scorpion. Let's have a look at him. There he is, look at that. Beautiful. And you can't really see it on the camera there, but he has got a lovely dark navy, almost blue sheen to him. They are closely related to the giant blue scorpion. I think the H. spinifer also sometimes goes by the name of giant blue scorpion because of that lovely blue coloration. But yeah, let's get him out and see. Let's have a look at him. Being very careful. Scorpions, of course, have a sting. And while the venom of the Asian forest scorpion is not at all potent or dangerous to humans, it will still hurt. So there we go, look at that. Isn't he a beauty? Add him in, or her. There we go, waking up a little bit. He has just arrived today. And he'll go around and have an explore. Get that last leg off, buddy. Come on, there we go. All in, beautiful. Move the camera down. Look at that. Isn't that a gorgeous, gorgeous scorpion? Got that amber telson there, the amber stinger. So I would say this one, not yet adult, probably sub-adult. They can get quite big. They're not called giant forest scorpion for no reason. There we go, look, he's having a nice explore. Talk a bit about the care of the species. So as I've mentioned, humidity between 65 to 85%. It's nice and humid, nice mist. Add some moss in there as well to give it also a nice foresty look. Foresty, is that a word? Probably. And some leaf litter as well, and that will help to retain the moisture. Of course, he'll need at least one hide, preferably two, so that's why I've got the skull in here as well, although he will probably just use the cork bark. Temperature for this species come from the subtropical and tropical parts of Asia, so they need it quite, if I can get my words out, they need it quite warm, so between 22 to 28 degrees is perfect for this species, preferably around 24 to 26. So if needs be, especially in the colder months, you can stick a heat mat to the side of one enclosure. I would never advise sticking a heat mat underneath the enclosure, and if you do that, I mean, if you really have to put a heat mat underneath, make sure it's covering no more than a third, because as the scorpion burrows, of course, it will get close to the heat mat, and even a small heat mat can get up to 40 degrees, which is far too hot for this scorpion. So make sure, best thing to do is stick a heat mat on one side of the enclosure, keep it in a fairly warm room as well, and that should keep him nice and warm. Temperature gradient works well as well. They don't need any lighting, they don't need any UV lighting. As for feeding, if you're feeding small feeders like locusts and crickets, I'd probably give two crickets every 1 to 2 weeks. If you're feeding larger food items like dubia roaches, then I will probably just give a large dubia roach every week. Absolutely beautiful. They're really easy to care for. They're not as docile as an emperor scorpion, but they're quite reluctant to use that stinger, and even if they do, I mean, I say it's not going to hurt that bad, but a bee sting can hurt quite a lot. So yeah, that'll be about it for this video then. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.